Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd Podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen gobble of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now, tonight's episode is brought to you by Wensleydale Cheese, handmade cheese with cranberries. If you want cheese that has a sweet flavor of fruity succulence of juicy cranberries with honeyed undertones, then try Wensleydale Cheese. It is a cheese that you can eat all you want, and instead of plugging you up, it makes you poop. Wensleydale Cheese, the cheese that makes you poop. Now back to the show. Today we're talking about in our podcast. Our topic this month is short films, and today we're talking about the 1995 stop-motion animation film Wallace and Gromit, a close shave, directed by Nick Park and starring Peter Sallis as the voice of Wallace. Let's talk about the film, guys. John, what made you want to pick this one?
Well, I needed to fill out my other two options. I figured, might as well just pull from a grab bag, and I was hoping this one wasn't picked. So
I guess that just teaches you to make sure to pick ones that you always want them to be.
No, I don't mind this one. I'm joking about it because I really do. I really do enjoy Wallace and Gromit and claymation to the extreme. I absolutely love it. Claymation for one, I love this style. I love how much work goes into it and the skill and dedication of the individuals to bring these things to light. And then Wallace and Gromit has that just dry sense of humor that I absolutely love. A very British sense of humor. I love it. And so I picked it because it was a really good short film. This one was one of two of their original short films, which won an Academy Award. It spawned spin-off series like Shaun the Sheep. And I think it was just a really good example of claymation and just good storytelling.
Did this one specifically win an award?
Oh yeah, won an Academy Award.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm fairly certain it won. If it was, maybe it was an Oscar. I don't know what it won. It won something here.
It won your heart.
It won my heart. I don't know what I could have done without it.
Thank the Academy.
Oh yeah, there we go. It was an Oscar. Sorry, it wasn't an Academy Award. It was an Oscar. But it won tons of other. No, yeah. So it won an Oscar. So that's technically the Academy Awards. My bad, because I suck at understanding the Academy Awards. But it won a bunch of different awards from film festivals all across the world.
Wow.
So very popular short film.
Yeah, I honestly have not. I mean, it was really good. I had never really watched Wallace and Gromit before. I've seen him in passing, but I thought this was a fun cartoon. I recognized the Shaun the Sheep character. I thought I'd heard of that one before when I was watching it, but I guess I didn't realize the premise of Wallace and Gromit, even though I'd heard about it, and I know they put out a movie or something like that a few years ago about it. And I heard a little bit about that, but this was fun. This is a fun movie to watch. I didn't realize he was an inventor and all that good stuff. All the little gadgets were really fun to watch.
Yeah, my only note from the movie was Dr. Seuss would be proud of the gadgets.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Some of those gadgets, I was like, yeah, that's not real. That's not. I hate that. As I've gotten older, like everything I look at now, it's like, you couldn't really do that. What the crap?
Yeah, I mean,
it really irritates my family.
surreal and a bit of absurdism, but that's kind of the point, I guess.
Right. That's the fun of it.
Yeah,
and stuff. But anyways, that was my big kind of take from this. It was fun. I liked the little kind of like the potential relationship that he was going for there for a minute. That was kind of a little fun. What's that?
Until she didn't like cheese.
Until she didn't like cheese. Yep.
Wensleydale cheese.
Well, and then the creator of that in a radio interview talked about how they just picked that cheese at random, and the film drummed up so much interest in that cheese that they actually saved that particular factory or company from going bankrupt
No way,
because of
really?
the increased interest in said cheese. Yeah.
That's really
Now,
cool.
whether or not that's absolutely true, because this is coming from the creator, and I haven't found anything to full on back it up. Whether or not that's fully true, who knows? But if it is, it's a cool little feel good story and kind of a weird, coincidence type deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird cheese.
I've never had it, so
I just from that's how I did the sponsor. I actually had to look it up. I'm like, what in the crap is this? Maybe I can do something with that. And I did not expect to see that it had
cheese that makes you poop.
It says it's got cranberries in it.
Yeah,
it's got fiber crit.
I
think that's
like
how that works, but all right.
I like nutty and fruity cheeses a lot.
Really? How?
Oh
nutty?
yeah. You're horrible. But I love those kinds of cheeses. So one day I kind of hope I get to try it now. I mean, it sounds really good.
When I was in Brazil, they eat a lot of goat cheese, and I always thought it was a little. I don't know. I didn't know if I really liked it all that much before I'd gone to Brazil. And one thing they eat goat cheese with is guava paste, like a gelatinous guava paste that comes in like a tin can. And it was absolutely delicious paired with cheese. I was a little blown away. I never thought to pair those two.
It had to be so spectacular that he's willing to drop this girl that he's been interested in the moment he laid eyes on her. And at the very end, it's like, oh, you don't like cheese? Well, I'm going to close the door on you. Like this is the first hurdle we have to get through, and I'm not even giving you a chance here. It sucks to be you.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure she's the only human in the entire story other than him.
Yeah.
I don't think other people exist.
Yeah, I think it's just them too.
So would this take us down the rabbit hole of maybe being a Twilight Zone movie? Where's all the other people?
So what I find there's a couple things I find interesting about this film that I want to talk about tonight. First is this is the first of the Wallace and Gromit films where they actually voiced characters, including Wallace, and obviously Gromit has no voice. But this is the first time
voiced before this.
Correct. The Wallace and Gromit films that happened before this, he did not have a voice, and so to me that's taking a little bit of a risk. And they already had award-winning film come out, very popular, and now they are taking a big risk. I mean, they've established these characters as not talking, and kind of the silent film kind of gag, kind of like how Shaun the Sheep is now, where nobody talks. But I think they took a real risk in voicing the characters, especially one of the primary characters being Wallace. And I think the risk absolutely paid off for sure. But I wonder like what prompted them to be like, okay, you know what, we're gonna go back on this. We're gonna change this and evolve it and instead and do voices.
Was it successful before they started doing the voices?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they had won awards on their previous film. So it wasn't like it was unsuccessful. They were tampering with a successful formula.
Okay.
I wonder if they were worried about that all of the B plot storylines wouldn't come together without voice. I don't know. I mean, thinking on the movie right now, I'm not sure you needed the voice because most of it was told through eyesight and expression and everything else. I think you could get away with it without voice. So I'm not sure.
And that actually kind of flows into the second thing I want to talk about, which is exposition in short films. I think short films struggle immensely, or can struggle immensely, with exposition and explaining their plot, explaining the situation, the environment, what's going on, because they have such short running times that they have to get information out so that the story makes sense and that they can have these impacts. And I think we see a masterclass in Wallace and Gromit, especially this one, with the exposition they were able to get accomplished. when he first opens up the newspaper and he's talking about the sheep, and it's moving the plot along, but yet it gives you just enough time to read, the stuff on the newspaper, and that kind of gag falls throughout the thing. But it felt like a very natural way to give you a lot of information right off the bat without it feeling like they're shoving it all down your throat and hoping you catch it. I don't know what you guys felt, with regards to exposition in this film particularly.
Well, we talked about last week how short films have to be extremely efficient with environment and exposition, because by the very nature, if they want to get to the heart of the film, they kind of have to get that out of the way in some way. I didn't get the impression while watching and thinking back on it now that they were exceptional at it. That they kind of set up the world and its rules. They set up the rules of the house, I guess. Kind of the physics and the crazy space that he lives in.
Which that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's neat from a Rube Goldbergian sense, but it's like I don't know if they like, I don't think I have any insight into how the rest of their world works from the film. Not that you needed it. I don't think you need that for the story, but I didn't get that personally.
Well, I think that in and of itself is a good sign, where there wasn't so much exposition on things that don't matter to the immediate story too.
JHoN, I can't think of any big piece that like where they where you see in movies you're like, oh my goodness, this is just exposition right here. I can't look back on this movie and point out one specific spot where they talked about that. I think they did a pretty good job with this kind of setting it up in little bits and pieces as you kind of went along through the beginning of like the truck and then the sheep falling out. And
the only time where they did that, where a character is explaining something and has an exposition, is where she's telling him about the dog, and her dad created the dog, and now he's malfunctioning and turning evil. Like that was the one spot where he was like solid exposition there.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like the catalyst for even voicing the characters, because that piece of backstory, like if she hadn't said that, you'd think that the robot dog came from her. You wouldn't necessarily know that it came from her father. I mean, there are some things with like the shots of the paintings and stuff like that, but still, it's yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I mean, there were some confusing things while I was watching it that I was kind of like, well, that's kind of I never really understood what the robot dog was doing. I mean, was he eating them? Is this how they made his dog food, was from the sheep or not? Because it seemed like he didn't have that machine at the end of the movie until he stole the blueprints. So like, there was like several moments where I was like, okay, there's an ominous aspect that they're communicating with, her dog. And that obviously he's up to something shady, but not shady enough to actually go after the missing sheep that fell out of the truck at the beginning. There's all these like things that about the dog itself that and kind of his reason for being and what he's doing that it's not really communicated, and or at least wasn't communicated clearly to me.
Or why he went evil, like his motivations, they weren't.
Just don't get any of that, and that's fine. I mean, you don't need that, because I think a lot of the movies kind of tied up in how Wallace and Gromit are living, and kind of setting up the extra sheep and kind of this interactions and an emotional place that the main characters are in. But I don't think it's not really the antagonist isn't really set up very strongly, in my opinion. I just didn't get a real strong impression from it. It's just a shady dog doing shady things, and getting the blame tossed off onto Gromit.
That part is the part that confused me a little bit too. Is that how he passed blame? It was just like all of a sudden he took a picture, and the next thing you knew, he was in jail.
Yeah,
it was like okay, that was fast progression.
Yeah.
My thought with some of it, and especially the voicing, was, perhaps this is them preparing for when they start to do longer films for it. But they didn't do another Wallace and Gromit film until 2005. So this was in 1995, not until 10 years later
Oh wow.
do they put out their full length movie. So
Well,
I mean,
knowing
it
how
could
hard
technically
stop
still be the
motion is,
preparation, but
I was
yeah,
gonna
that's
say how
true.
hard stop
Maybe it
motion
took them
is
10 years.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, probably took him all of that time. Yeah, just to do the one movie. I mean, it is time consuming stuff. My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched the stop motion of The Empire Strikes Back where they're doing the walkers, and oh my goodness, that just the length of time to even do that short sequence is just unbelievable.
And it's just interesting, the whole stop motion thing. The community around it is intense. Like one of the coolest things I've seen, I think it was one of the guys that does Robot Chicken, uses a Super Nintendo Power Glove that he's like basically hijacked and hacked to run the cameras so that he doesn't have to constantly go back or set up, buttons or anything like that. So he's moving things in this claymation world and then using his power glove to take the photos or to move the cameras or something like that. It's just like there's so many cool little things that people do in stop motion and claymation that it's so neat to watch. And again, bonkers how dedicated you have to be to pull off something like this.
Well, you look at
Yeah,
even big things like we
single-minded
reviewed
for
before,
sure.
like A Night Before Christmas. I mean, those things are just the feat of pulling those movies off are just spectacular.
And this was just as detailed as The Nightmare Before Christmas in my mind. Like there was so much detail in this, done by a much smaller crew and much, much, much smaller budget. So like I've always been super impressed with how much detail they've been able to shove into this.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Especially like
work
the
for
Curse
sure.
the Were Rabbit. Yeah.
Well, and even the details within. I mean, you got the claymation, but even just the details and the expressions in the faces of the characters. I kind of looked at that. I even was kind of watching like the clay itself and all of the little textures that you could see that they were blending into it and stuff as they went. I thought that was pretty neat to give it a little bit of more of a real to life texture as much as you can within claymation. But that's, I thought that was interesting because that's I've seen stop motion where they don't go that far. They don't do that kind of detailed stuff. And it doesn't make a difference in the actual storytelling. No, but it's a cool, nice little, higher quality thing that you can tell people are taking a little bit extra time to do that with each, snap of the camera that they do in stop motion.
Well, the extra time just comes across as quality. Like it's not perceptible unless you're looking for it, but yeah, it comes across.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wholeheartedly and stuff. But that's but overall, I really had fun with this movie. I did enjoy every bit of it. Matter of fact, I was thinking to myself as I was watching it, that I should have watched it with my kids because I think they would have got a kick out of it. Just the interactions, just like the stuff like. By the way, Gromit doesn't do anything. It's all Gromit does everything. Wallace just stands around as Gromit does everything. But I like that kind of that comedic part of it because I love British humor as well, and always have. And I thought that was a nice little thing where he was like bungeeing up and washing the windows. That whole gag, I thought that was pretty funny. I chuckled a few times in that whole interaction as he's just sitting there just BSing with the woman. In the shop. Sometimes I get the feeling also that Gromit is the inventor and maybe not necessarily Wallace because he's always running them and stuff. I don't think that's the truth, but still makes it feel that way that he always knows what's going on. He always knew how to run the equipment and stuff. Kind of a weird universe though, where, everybody or the animals are, hyper intelligent as well.
Not all animals though.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Rabbits.
Huh?
Rabbits definitely aren't.
Rabbits
you
aren't?
catch that in their later films, but
I was going to say
it's one of those half like if it's good for the plot, the animal's going to be semi-sentient, but if it's not, they don't. It's back to normal.
Okay, so it wasn't just like all animals are sentient in this universe.
Correct.
Okay, that's good. that was just one thing I did notice and stuff, but though the dog seemed always sentient, of course. I wonder if Gromit's a robot in disguise as well. You never know.
Just not a murderous one.
Exactly. All right. Do we have anything else to say about this movie? It feels like we're winding down a little bit.
Nope.
Yeah, I think it's enjoyable as far as it's definitely entertaining. I don't think there's anything like super deep to analyze in it, but that doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be an early on. Definitely some of these ones we're watching just for fun.
Yeah,
for the enjoyment of watching it. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I watched this because I'd always been curious about Wallace and Gromit, but I never had. I don't know. I've never indulged really into that animation style very much. It's not a must see on my list, but when I do see it, I do enjoy it. So let's do ratings then. I'll go first. I gave this 7 out of 10 bowls of porridge. And I really like it. I probably won't own it, but I really do like it, and I did enjoy it.
I'd watch it with my mom.
Would you?
Yep.
You don't think it would be too scary for her or anything? All right, Crit, what's up yours, man?
I'll give it 12 out of 17 acrobatic sheep.
Nice. Definitely, yeah. Pulled that off pretty good and stuff. Okay, so now we have our ratings out of the way. We do have a couple of things we need to come up with. We've got one of you is going to be telling us the movie for next week, and then one of you is going to be giving us the new topic for next month, correct?
Correct.
All right. Crit, do you want to start first with that, and then we'll go to John for
that makes sense
for the for the next month topic.
Yeah. All right. Number 1. Does the victim have to solve the problem? Number 2.
Okay.
Become unsafe to create the bright future. And number 3. Necessity dictates atrocity.
I like the first one.
What was the first one again?
Does the victim have to solve the problem?
Yeah, I was leaning on either 1 or 3, John. I'll go along with 1.
Let's do 1.
Yeah, let's do 1.
All right. Number 2, become unsafe to create the bright future. That's 2036 Nexus Dawn. It's a short film that takes place before Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. I feel like I need to watch it anyway.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's got Jared Leto's character basically attempting to get the laws changed in order for him to make his own replicants.
Wow, I really need to watch this one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Number 3 is Necessity Dictates Atrocity, and that's Raqqa. It's a Blumhouse. It's the guy who did District 9. It's off of one of his studio things. It's like this alien takeover movie, kind of using similar stuff to what he did in District 9.
Oh, wow.
Short film.
Sounds like another one I need to watch.
Yeah. And the one that you chose, does the victim have to solve the problem? And that's Groundhog Day for a Black Man.
Okay.
And it is on YouTube. You just search for that and you'll find it. It'll be the top one. And it's a short film. It's kind of funny, but also a little bit topical, obviously. So,
Right.
We'll see what
Groundhog
you think of it next week.
Okay. Groundhog Day for a Black Man. I can have an hard time saying that. All right. All right, John. Thank you, Crit, for that. And John, you're up, buddy. What do you got for us?
Movies that are based on books.
Okay.
Based on books.
Yeah. So whatever movie you choose has to be based on a book. It can be a novel. It can be a paper. It doesn't matter as long as it's based on on paper somehow, if that makes sense.
So all 3 choices will be some form of Lord of the Rings.
Or just all of them Lord of the Rings.
Just all of them Lord of the Rings. We can at least get away with 2 of us picking, because there's 6 movies out there. If you count the Hobbit ones as split movies.
So they had to be in they have to be in book form first before they were made the movie. Is that the
Yeah, that is the stipulation. So
that is
it's
the
not a
stipulation. Okay.
yeah. It has to have been based on a book,
Not like a
book-
Star Wars that was then translated to
a book.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's got to
Not a
be
problem.
the other way around.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
What? Oh my goodness! I look forward to that, John. That actually opens. That's a very wide topic this next month.
Yep.
I look forward to seeing what you guys pull out of your butts, and then
Phrasing.
That's gross.
and then of course on the next one it'll be me picking the next set of movies, and we'll look forward to that. Well, I don't know if I will, but you guys will, of course, right?
Mm-hmm. Already am.
All right, guys. Well, I think we had a good podcast tonight. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for your picks, and I look forward to them. And thanks to everybody out there listening and for supporting our channel. If you can, please click the like button if you like what you heard. It helps us with the algorithm. And as always, may you be excellent to each other and live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House of Nerds. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe.